What's up, guys? It could be YT, and I'm back with another video. Yeah, so guys, today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 6 of The Flash, titled Shade. So there's some speculation going into this episode what the title Shade meant. Were we going to see the Jay Garrick villain Shade, or was it going to relate somehow to Wally? So it's kind of a both. So similarly to how Arrow does their titles sometimes, where with the human target or penance or something like that, or so it begins, stuff like that. Flash kind of did this in both ways. So we did get the villain Shade. Let's just start off. So Shade, he was an okay villain. Kind of, I mean, obviously he was a throwaway villain. Alchemy sent him as a distraction. And yeah, so there's not really much to say. He's some young kid. It's kind of cool. H.R. Wells was kind of cool in this episode. Probably my favorite episode with him in it. He also mentioned a lot of metahumans that they had on his Earth as well. Like they have Grodd, and they probably have Gorilla City there too. I think Grodd is on Earth 2 now. I'm not sure. They might have sent him to Earth 19. I'm not sure though. So yeah, so we definitely know that Grodd's on other Earths. We also know that he had Shade. And we also learned from Wells that they have this thing on their Earth where they can basically change what people's faces look like. So from now on, besides Team Flash and us viewers, Wells looks like his partner. So some guy named Randolph, some guy we don't know. So yeah, so Wells can go in public now. Alright guys, so let's talk about the main plots of this story episode. And yeah, so basically this episode is about Barry having to come clean to Wally after he starts getting messages and visions from Alchemy, all leading up to a major meeting with Alchemy. So yeah, so let's just talk about how Alchemy was in this episode. I thought he was a pretty good villain. He obviously plays kind of like a mentor in this episode, especially cool scene at the end. So he's basically telling Wally, you gotta come to me, you get your speed, let's just do this, get it over with, you're next, you're gonna be another husk, let's just go. So Wally was a big part of this episode. It was a big, heavy Wally episode, and it showed the struggles Wally was going through, how he just wants to help people, and it was really cool to see the opening clip where we get to see another Kid Flash vision. So I think that's a memory, so that was kind of cool. We got to see a Kid Flash vision. More Kid Flash, the more the merrier, but now I think he's coming on the show, so it doesn't really matter. So we basically get to see him struggling with all the alchemy visions and everything, eventually becoming possessed at some point. And yeah, they made it look like a lot bigger in the episode, like he was actually going to go through the whole episode, crazy. And basically it was him just freaking out, feeling the pain when he actually died by the rival. And yeah, so other points of this episode, we kind of get some like jealousy from Iris. I don't know if she wants to be a speedster or if Barry's just interpreting like that, but yeah, not positive about what's going on there. Alright guys, so let's jump into the whole Cisco-Caitlin thing in this episode. So basically, Caitlin's powers are manifesting, and she steals these bracelets from Cisco that are like metahuman dampeners. They get rid of the powers, and basically, Cisco realizes she stole them, and she comes clean to Cisco. So, and then eventually at the end of the episode, Cisco reveals it to the team, so everybody knows about the Kid Flash. About Killer Frost. But let's just talk about that cool little vibe that Cisco got. So we got to see Killer Frost versus Vibe. And the cool thing was that we got to see their full out costumes. The Vibe costume looked pretty sick. I'm not sure if the Killer Frost costume is different than Earth 2. It looked a little different, but it's cool. Maybe we're going to actually get that in the crossover. I heard that we might get a Vibe Killer Frost. Yeah, it was like on IMDb, but it got deleted, so I'm not sure. Alright guys, so yeah, so that was kind of cool. But next week is a huge Killer Frost episode directed by Kevin Smith. And also some other news. Kevin Smith is directing the first Supergirl episode back. So I think episode 9 of Supergirl, like when we get back from like the winter break, Kevin Smith is directing a Supergirl episode. So basically Kevin Smith's track record is The Runaway Dinosaur from last season, which was a great episode. A really emotional kind of feeling episode. Not heavy action, really. We got to see them dealing with Girder back on Earth 1. I think that's what his name is. But it was basically Barry emotionally becoming ready to become the Flash. So yeah, so that's what that was. Not to spend too much time there. So other things we got in this episode, we kind of got like more of a personality of who Wells is. So we basically got his idea in the beginning of the episode to turn this into the turned it basically into Star Labs Museum. I think eventually this will become the Flash Museum. It makes sense. That idea, I think that was maybe better than just like an Easter egg for the Flash Museum. We did get to see a Flash Museum when Barry's traveling back in time at the end of season 1. So I meant to go back, watch that, see was that look like Star Labs or not. So that'll be kind of interesting to see. But most of everything H.R. Wells said in this episode was right. Basically, everything he said with the metahumans was spot on. What he was saying about, he's right though. Like, he's right. Eventually, at some point, somebody's gonna be like, oh, how the Flash is here. Cisco's the Park and the Flash. Like, Cisco's working for the Flash, so is Caitlin, so is Joe, and everything. It's gonna go. I don't know, maybe they want to use it as a plot line, but I think H.R. Wells, everything he basically said in this episode was correct. It was funny that one scene when Joe is on a date with Cecile, the DA, I think she's the DA, and they're on a date, and of course everything goes wrong. H.R. Wells steals the show, and then Shade shows up. So, Barry versus Shade was okay. We all knew Barry was going to take him down. Shade was a mid-level, he was basically a pawn in this episode, so it wasn't really that exciting. We all knew Barry was going to take him down. It was cool to see Caitlin helping the Flash, because that's the first time Caitlin's actually been on the field, but I think we're going to get more of that now with the Killer Frost. So, guys, let's talk about the kind of like an Easter egg when we're talking about where is Julian Albert, and he was missing, and he took the day off. So I think honestly he's got to be Alchemy at some point. Maybe he has an excuse. And the little clip we see for next week, it shows him in the hospital. It could be an excuse. He might have got injured fighting the Flash. I think he got injured. That would make sense because they did shoot him with some metahuman like gun or something. So that would kind of make sense. But let's talk about the end. So basically Wally goes in his bait. He goes up to Alchemy. He's like, what do you want? He's like, I want you guys to die. And basically the Flash comes out of nowhere. And Alchemy dominates Barry. It looks like the Philosopher's Stone is really a fast bolt of light. Like, Barry can escape from it. So that's going to be something he's going to build up through the episode, through the seasons, and through the episodes. So, episodes, not seasons. But, so yeah. So I think last season, getting faster than Zoom. Season 1, getting faster versus Flash. I think getting faster than, be able to beat Alchemy is going to be the goal of the season. So, yeah, because Alchemy's not a speedster, but I'll talk about the speedster at the end of this episode. Yeah, so basically we get to see that. We get to see Wally touch the Philosopher's Stone and turn into some, tree thing. I assume it's kind of like him turning into the Husk. Wally's going to become Kid Flash. So I think Wally, now it's confirmed he has his powers. And that basically means a couple of things. That means now, I don't know if we're going to be getting our, I don't know if we're going to get that much more Jesse Quick this season, because I think it's going to be a lot of things like Jesse Quick dealing with her powers. I think it's going to be like Wally dealing with his powers, so that's going to take over that storyline. So I don't know how more Jesse / Harry we're going to be getting the rest of the season. Probably going to get a couple more episodes, which would be cool. Maybe a really cool Kid Flash, Jesse Quick team up, which would be kind of awesome. So yeah. So guys, let's just talk about the very ending WTF, where all of a sudden Alchemy's like, you don't even know what you're doing, in his deep voice. So I kind of wish they did unmask Alchemy, but that leaves the mystery on. I thought this would have been a fine time to unmask Alchemy, because he's not the big bad of the season. And that is Savatar, and Savatar just comes out of nowhere. So I assume because Barry has speed, he can only see Savatar, because basically Savatar is so fast that you can't even see him, and he must be vibrating at some level of frequency that you can't even see him when he's standing still. That's why they only saw the Flash flight when Edward Claris got killed, so it was kind of interesting. And he looks like he's about to kill Barry at the end. We all know he won't. I assume Wally will come out of the husk and basically scare him off. Not scare him off, but be like, alright, I've completed what we wanted, just get out of here, there's no point. We've got Alchemy out of here, let's just go. So yeah, so that's basically how the episode ends. But Savatar looks sick. He looks like he has a mask. I don't know if that's actually his face. He said he's the god of speed. So yeah. So, it was a really good episode. Not the best episode we've ever seen in The Flash. Probably the best episode this season. Maybe, I really did like Flashpoint, but maybe the second best episode this season in my opinion. But it's been better. It's better than the last episode, because I didn't really enjoy episode 5 as much as, some other episodes. So, yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like, comment, subscribe. If you guys are hyped for next week's episode, Killer Frost, directed by Kevin Smith. And, yeah. So, guys, peace.